Hello.
Double push.
We're live after the technical difficulties of having to push the live button twice instead of once. We're all set up. Nathan's got like 3 monitors on, and we're raring to go. We're watching Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts. While we're waiting on our other guest for this evening, I wanted to ask, what have you been watching recently, Nathan?
Oh, right, because we're going to talk about anime forever. That was the plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, wait, side note. I guess we should just address the fact that we are both wearing red flannel.
Wasn't planned, but
Nathan
honestly,
just gets on the stream and is wearing red flannel. I'm like, dude, great minds.
Yeah, I do own 2 different versions of red flannel though, so the likelihood of me wearing red flannel though is much higher than any other of my clothing choices, I suppose. But yeah, it's a red flannel kind of day. It's like it didn't get above 50 today. It's cold and windy. It is. It's the Midwestern look. So
it's Midwestern. It's chilly. I was gonna wear a t-shirt and I was like, it's too cold in this apartment and I'm too cheap to turn the heat on.
It's been windy here in Minnesota as well. So
Iowa, same. Very windy. We have more planes for the wind to go across.
My apartment creates like a wind tunnel with the building next to it, and I just heard it whooshing past my window all of last night. It was just howling. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But you won't have to deal with that for long because Nathan is moving and just bought a house.
Oh my gosh. It's just it's huge and crazy and stressful, and I've been living in this apartment for 3 years, and I've been working from home for 6 months, and I'm like, I could use an office and a bit of space. And so I went and found a townhouse and we're moving into it. It's like different.
It's like you're an adult or something.
Oh God, don't remind me.
Oh no. Well, I'm excited to visit it sometime soon. Hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll all be tough and over, and I'm kind of way out of the way now. Well, you do come up to Maple Grove a bit, but
I do. See, because Maple Grove is where I usually stay. Shout out to Laura and Kate, because they live in Maple Grove, and I usually stay at their place when I'm up there, just because it's a, Laura and Kate and I. That's when we watch Disney movies, and I will occasionally have them watch an anime, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah. I feel that.
For sure. Okay. Seriously, I've been watching so many random different things. What have you been watching?
Well, we've been talking about it a lot, but The Misfit of Demon King Candy finished.
Okay.
So Misfit finished. It was really epic. Okay. It was fantastic. It was all of the joy and love that I needed from that silly anime. God of High School finished as well. It was just so epic, just endlessly epic. You aren't finishing or keeping up with either of those.
I'm not keeping up with either of them. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. They're both just like silly, goofy anime. I don't know. I can't really say if either of them are good, but I enjoyed them.
I mean, for context, I've been watching 7 Deadly Sins, which is critically not a great anime,
no.
But my enjoyment of it is high, so I just watch. It's okay.
All right. Well, these are in the same vein of just entertaining.
We enjoy it, so we're gonna watch it.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I completely just binged that Bofuru. I maxed out my defense so I wouldn't get hurt. Anime. It was so funny. It's so amazing. There's one season, 12 episodes. The ending is like there was like a guild battle, and so Maple, the main character, who has been acquiring these outrageous power moves and outrageous stats this entire series, just like gets everyone that's ever done anything nice to her into a guild, and they're all like, what's the plan here? What are we doing? And he was like, oh, I don't know, I thought it'd be fun. And then they just like destroy everybody.
That's amazing.
Like they're just like weird combinations of people of just like doing min-maxy things, and like the ending is like Maple transforms into like this giant alien like creature, and then one of their mages does like mass manipulation of it, and then just like clones her, and then she's just running around wrecking havoc as like 7 T-Rex alien type things, and you're like, this is a little chibi anime girl who has decided that she's going to build this RPG monster. And like everyone in the game like starts referring to her as like the monster, like she's the final boss, she's the monster of this game. And she's just like, oh, I thought it'd be fun. Oh, and she got the giant like T-Rex alien power by not being able to defeat it, so she ate it. Again, how she keeps getting all of her powers because it couldn't kill her because she has so much defense, but her only attack is bite.
Did you just bite? Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I need to watch this.
It's an absolutely bonkers show.
Do you watch it on Crunchyroll or Funimation?
Funimation. It was on Funimation.
Okay. Definitely on my list. Also, like, speak in the same like vein, and I don't know if I've talked to you about it specifically. I know it's going to be in the What You Watchin' on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
With Jamie?
It was Jamie. Yeah, I talked to him about it. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Tell me about it. It's got a weird name. So
it's got the weirdest name. But it's that same vein of like, this is a video game. Except it's not like, it's not an isekai or anything like that. It's just the world that they live, the fantasy world that they live in basically runs on video game mechanics. Like they even like level up, like it's a video game. So the premise, why it has the longest, weirdest name in history, is this kid, Belle, and he's the cutest little kid ever. He's great. I love him. He's my son. And his grandfather is telling him all these great stories about heroes and adventurers and whatever. And he's like, someday you've got to find yourself a girl in a dungeon. What? I don't know.
What a pep talk.
I know, right? He's like, once you save her from a monster, then you'll be together forever or whatever, you know, like super generic, like you have to go save a girl and then you'll be great, right? Well, he ends up going into a dungeon and for the first time and all this stuff, and he's, you know, level 1, total horrible at everything. And the thing his grandfather says happens, except in the reverse. So he gets saved by a girl.
Okay, all right. I like it. I like the switch. I like it.
It's a switch. And so the whole time his motivation is just to like get as close to her as possible, you know, and she's like the super high level, super crazy, awesome, like sword fighter girl.
Like Urza level, like from Fairy Tail, just like above everybody else.
Yes, like seriously.
I love Urza. She's one of the best characters.
So good. I love her so much. And like the thing about this world, the way it runs is like all of the like Greek gods. I know how much you like the Greek myths, right? Greek mythology. Okay.
Castlevania director's new Netflix next week, Blood of Zeus,
Ooh.
the 27th. I just saw a trailer for it. It looks intense.
Yes. This is not quite that intense. But...
Okay. That's good too.
Yeah. All the like Greek gods and goddesses like decided to, not all of them, but most of them decided to like come down and be mortal, hang out with mortals because that's fun. And basically to go in the dungeon, you have to be a part of a familia or a guild, basically, of one of those gods or goddesses. Because Bel is a little shrimp, like he gets denied by everybody, like we're not going to let you in.
Yeah.
And Hestia is the only goddess who...
Goddess of the hearth.
Yes, yep. And she takes Bel in because she doesn't have any members.
That's sad. Okay.
So it's Hestia and Bel, and they make up the Hestia Familia. And like I said, they like gain levels and abilities and like skills. It's very video game like. And it's basically just Bel's little adventure, like gaining a familia for Hestia, right? Like they build this group like out of I don't know, this is like little ragtag team, and I'm for it. I just love them all so much, and I'm just like rooting them on, like get through the dungeon. It's so good. Oh man. So it's like a really good, fun, feel good, light adventure. And you've got a little bit of like, honestly, not a lot of Greek mythology, but a little dabble of that mixed in.
Sure.
Hermes is my favorite god.
Yeah.
He's great. He's super like, I mean, he's like the coon character of this anime, you know?
Okay.
Which I appreciate. Except that he's much more silly. Honestly, if you've watched Fruits Basket, he's more of a Shigure because he's manipulating and like doing all these things, but he's pretending that he's an idiot.
All right. Okay.
Or he's just a little more like silly and abrasive. Like Kun is very serious. Like he's not.
Well, yeah.
Not.
That's a backstory and a half on that guy.
Yeah. So anyway, there's my super long spiel for is it wrong to try to pick up girls in the dungeon, which takes a minute just to say. But season 3 is coming out right now, and I'm just loving it so much.
That's awesome.
And basically, too, just a side note, it basically turns into one of those kind of anime where it's not a harem, but almost all the girls that Bel interacts with ends up falling in love with him. So. but
he's still after like the first girl that saved him.
So he has eyes for no one except her. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So good. All right. What else have you been watching?
Last night I just started watching Overlord, which is also a sort of isekai. Essentially.
Oh, yes. Okay. I know nothing about it except that it's part of like the isekai quartet. So tell me. Okay.
So the premise is, I've only watched the first 3 episodes.
All right.
The premise is that there's a fancy MMO RPG thing, like all the isekais, that is completely immersive, and it's getting shut down. And so one of like the most prevalent guilds and the prevalent guild leaders is like trying to like get everyone together for like the last hurrah. And like, he's just like sitting in his guild house and like no one's really showing up. And like, he says goodbye to like one of his last friends. And he's just like, well, I'm going to stay in here until the lights turn off, essentially. And so he's waiting for the server shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And so the server shut down and he doesn't get booted out.
Okay.
He gets stuck like all of the other ones in this world, like after the servers get shut down, and he no longer has like his interface console, and he's like kind of freaking out. But then all of the NPCs that they had created to like manage their guild are now like talking to him like in person. Like before, like he was showing like a little bit of things and he was like looking up like the information, like they had written stories about their NPCs,
Yeah.
And like giving them like descriptors and whatnot, and he's like modifying them a little bit, and so he makes like one of the NPCs like in love with him, and then all the things that they had been written about are now the character's attributes that
Oh
are
my
now
gosh.
like in life characters that he's like trying to interact with, and
Oh
so
my
he's
gosh.
like he's also like a skeleton man. So the main guild leader is just like the most like arch necromancer like mage character like possible. And so
Yeah.
he's got like this inner monologue that's just like a nerdy voice, and then he's like trying to command all these NPCs in a different voice and be like this like scary overlord ruler type character. And he's like,
Right.
oh boy, this is exhausting being a leader. And he's like, but he's monitoring all this stuff, and he's just like, I haven't had to eat or drink or sleep in a while. And then like where their guild had been, they like the whole terrain around it is different. And so he's like, he thinks he's been like transported somewhere, but now like in this world that he's in, there's like rival kingdoms and whatnot. And so he's just like just learning about like what's going on with everything else. But like he goes in to like save a village that was getting attacked by knights, and like everything is puny to him because he's like maxed level and super overpowered, and he just like summons like death knights, and like all the NPCs that they had were super overpowered as well. And so they're just like coming in and just like absolutely destroyed everything. And he's like, this is weird. This is what it feels like to be a god. And he's just like starting to play God with this world. And I don't know. But it also has this sort of little like harem, like all the NPCs are like obsessed with him.
Right, yeah.
But like some of them are like a giant frost crab and like a literal devil. And like, cause they had this whole like necromancer underlord thing. And so, yeah, it's interesting. It's good so far.
It sounds fun. It sounds like a good, fun, enjoyable.
Yeah.
Isekai crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it and I need to. It's like there's a never ending list of isekai that I
it's just like you just scroll down and you're like, here's an anime based off a video game. Here's an anime based off a video game. Here's this.
That's literally all there is. Brynn is here.
What?
Brynn, and we're gonna add her. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello. Brynn, welcome.
Got it. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm being looked at accusingly by my wee noodle.
Yes,
Linguini accusingly at me, like, but Mama, you're home. That means I get to come out, right?
Right.
Like poking. Linguini is my ball python. He turned 3 months old yesterday, so he's like,
Sweet.
but Mom.
You have to play.
He is a sweet little bab. Does that help? There we go. Yeah. So, he's the first pet that I've been able to cuddle for a decade. Which means that he is now the love of my life.
Awesome. No allergies here, folks.
No, he hasn't even shed yet.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How's it going? You were talking about animes based on games. Were you talking about the I didn't want to get hurt, so I leveled up my defense. Only my defense.
We did that a while ago. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Senpai, dear Stefan Senpai, who is now a listener, suggested that you and I do that a couple weeks ago. I don't know if he messaged in like I told him to, but it's such a. I started watching it, and it's really good.
Yes.
So cute.
He did. He messaged in, and I was like, "Yeah, I need to watch this."
So his name is Stefan Senpai.
Great.
Because in a different podcast, he had followed somebody to a different podcast, and they were like, Senpai noticed us, because he bought them a gift. And so he was forever known as Stefan Senpai. So if I ever talk about Senpai, it's because of you, Stefan. He knows that. He knows that anytime one of our groups says Senpai, it's him.
It's him. He knows. Secret code.
Yeah, he's great.
That we all now know. We all know code.
Yeah. The beginning of our code. But with Kipo, I have one of my 6th graders who texted me because I have a Google Voice mailbox for school, and they were like, Miss Maryhill, season 3 is out. Netflix told me on my phone. It sent me a notification. I'm already on episode 4, and I sternly told him that no spoilers because I was doing this today.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my goodness, that's exciting. Speaking of Kipo season 3, briefly before we start, because we've been chatting a while without actually watching anything, which is fine.
Oops.
But there's also like very few people stopping in once in a while. So, but what are our predictions for season 3?
Oh, redemption arc. They're gonna give Scarlet redemption arc.
All right. Good call. Yep. I think that's a fair assumption.
I think it's a fair assumption, but one of the discussions that got cut from our Kipo episode was that if you look at the Disney storylines of villains, almost none of them get redemption arcs. Almost
right, but
all of them
Disney.
Get their comeuppance.
I
know it's not Disney, but like I stand by allowing for a story that the villain doesn't get a redemption. I really liked that Scarlet. I won't be mad if he gets a redemption or anything, but I liked that Scarlemagne kind of had a stutter start redemption, and then he lost it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. I think it's real, and I'm okay if there's never a full redemption of Scarlemagne.
All right. I feel like from a writing standpoint, they're going to have to do something with him. And the fact that they did not kill him or turn him into a statue means that they've got a plan for him.
Yeah. And I think that it would be something that we haven't seen before if he starts into a redemption arc and then loses all hope of humanity. Period. Full stop. I think that would be new to the genre. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't have any hope that that's what's going to happen, but I think that would be super interesting if they did it.
All right. Good theory.
I think it's going to be Kipo's final unification between the humans and the animals is going to be Scarlemagne's redemption arc, and she's going to get through to him.
Aww.
Unification. Yeah. What? Where do I? Unification Day. Oh, Futurama. Okay, sorry. I was trying to figure out where I had heard that recently. Sorry.
Futurama. What a show I probably won't talk about on the podcast.
That's fair. And a whole genre of anime that's just not going to get touched on this podcast.
Oh no, Nathan and I have already talked about Food Wars and how it will not be discussed. Even though we both love it. It's a great show. If you're under 18, please don't look at it.
I was thinking a little bit more than Food Wars, but yes, that genre.
Right? Oh man. Yeah.
I have friends who cosplayed as the guy in the apron at Convergence.
Soma. Are literally any of the characters are named
Yukihira Soma.
No, but the pink apron with the teddy bear on it.
The top 10 girl with her.
It was a boy. Is that from Food Wars or is it from a different one? It has a pink apron, bug naked, and
the Polar's story.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They cosplayed
seat 7. He was seat 7.
They cosplayed as him at Convergence by having like a banana hammock. And it was beige and they were white. So they did it. They got away with it.
All right. People can do just about anything.
It's a con. It's fine.
All right.
Oh man.
Yukihira Soma.
Anyway, Kelly, what do you think's going to happen in Kipo?
What do I think is going to happen? Well, at least from my understanding, I might be wrong, but I think this is the final season of Kipo.
It feels like it.
It's the final season. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any super strong, I have very vague ideas of I also think the redemption arc is happening. I think obviously they will come to some consensus in some point. I maybe her mom will come back to being a human, but honestly, I think that would be cheap. Like I think she's a monkey. How can they turn her back?
I think it would be really interesting if her mom was the inverse of Kipo. Kipo has to trigger jaguar form and like maintain it, but maybe Kipo's mom has to trigger human form, but her natural state now is monkey form. I think that would be worth exploring. Especially we've talked about a little bit how like jaguar form is kind of fight or flight mode for Kipo, and that has a time and place in survival and in learning how to and being safe and such, and it can be helpful. I think that it would be worth showing somebody who has lived in fight or flight for so long that it is their natural state, slowly, painstakingly learning how to turn it off.
Maybe that's like maybe we will get like a full like the family, they're all back to normal, like season finale.
Specifically,
it's going to be a feel-good moment.
Specifically showing that it takes time and effort and that it is not immediate. Because that's a neural pathway. Trauma has made its way into your body and has retaught your body different neural synapses and different pathways sort of thing. But that's just the child psychologist in me coming not that I'm a certified child psychologist, but being a teacher and taking a lot of psychology courses and having like a lot of that kind of training, that's what comes to mind. Right. Specifically learning a lot about childhood trauma especially with the area that I'm a teacher in. So anyways.
So we'll see what they do with that, the ongoing metaphor of turning into the
metaphor that I see it as. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty.
Yeah. So, yay! So I haven't made my way into the party.
Yeah.
So this is a great time for other people to make their way into the party too.
I put it on the comments, and I will be doing that as we go, because for sure I'm gonna stop and like talk in between episodes. And you know how that works with me. I always need to make a new party every time that happens for some reason. Yeah. Because Netflix doesn't like you to stop. It just wants you to keep going.
Well, yeah, because it's the binging party.
Exactly. So it's called Teleparty now, which like threw me for a loop.
Oh, that's right. It is a TP. We really could have used that a few months ago.
Whoa. You're here with the jokes, people.
You have no idea, and I'm so sorry. So is the last link Teleparty invite? Yay!
Also, Brynn, you clearly missed the memo about wearing red flannel today.
Clearly. I am not a true Minnesotan in that I don't have red flannel.
What? Brynn.
I know. It's showing in my like East Coast roots right now. I will have to dig into James's wardrobe and see if he has any that I can borrow
next time. Oh man.
Okay,
awesome.
So are we cool with Snaky Babe coming out?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, is that a question?
I'm like, we can't really stop you.
Well, okay, so like I understand that some people have a fear of snakes. Usually it helps that they're like on the screen and not in the room for people.
If anyone has a fear of snakes, this is your warning. And also just watch Kipo and ignore us.
Right, exactly.
Isn't that great? Like
he'll probably try to escape a couple times and get a timeout anyways, so he won't be on for too long. But
okay. And I'm going to, after I push play, go on mute, and then we'll go through the episode, and then I'll unmute afterwards, and we can sound cool. Cool beans. Okay. And for those of you who aren't on the Netflix party but are wanting to watch it in time with us anyway, I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Play.
And go.
And I'm gonna be eating while I watch, so sorry. All right. Ooh.
It's very Kipo. It's very Kipo.
Very Kipo. Very Kipo. Yeah. Mufa. Great name. Love it.
It's like almost Hakuna Matata, but it's Humufa Katana.
Yes. Oh my goodness. We'll see. I was wondering when they're getting to Scarlemagne, and there he was. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's on the redemptive track at the moment, but
Can y'all hear me?
He's gonna. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Is it echoing?
No.
Okay, great. I just can't get my headphones to work for some reason. Oh, that is an escape noodle. You were not allowed to be an escape noodle tonight, my love. Hi. Sorry.
Linguini.
He's a little toddler. Meet Linguini.
Yes. That's so cute. Very cute.
He's my little baby. So anyway, what'd we think?
It's very Kipo.
Yeah.
Nothing too drastic happened.
yeah.
I don't know.
So they're getting the Princess Alliance together.
This is Shira.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
For sure.
it still has its own stuff, but also, and like, it's got the element of we've been fighting actively and having like big disagreements. I kind of called that Amelia was taking everybody, and I think that Kipo was correct. But I love that the kids like started like getting along.
I was about to say the same thing.
It reminded me of the Star episode
because the monsters and the humans, the kids are hanging out and having fun.
Because kids don't have biases like adults do, which I think is beautiful, until the adults start to get to them, and then they do, which is unfortunate. But love it so far. What are y'all's thoughts?
It's good. Not much to say yet. I'm just interested to see what happens with Scarlemagne throughout this. Because he doesn't seem to be in any way, shape, or form. And with the little time we had with him this episode, going, redemptive route. There's still plenty of time.
Well, and he wasn't at the end of last
season
either.
Although I wonder if his suggestion will come back, like if Kipo's gonna use fear to try to control people.
She said no so fast.
Yeah.
She said no so fast, and I was like, "Way to go, Kipo! Yeah. Way to go!"
But it also is kind of that baiting that is very like present in these kind of TV shows, though. Like in Steven Universe, where the jerk kid is like, "Oh, well, you should try to ignore her," or whatever, to Steven about his troubles with Connie, and that he shouldn't, and he knows that he shouldn't, but he does it anyway. I think that this is a very similar bait that she might use in the future.
She might if she gets desperate enough, but she just got another group to join Mufa, which is
good news for maybe not doing that, which would be nice.
Yeah, there's such polar opposite like character dynamics, and like Kipo is very much still a Paragon, and so like to have like a Paragon change that drastically seems
like a lot.
Yeah, seems unlikely to me at least. I'm surprised that Scarlemagne's in a jail cell in a cage. I'm like, that's not good. That's not helpful for him.
Redemption.
It makes sense though. Like at some point, if he can't handle not being out of a cage, then what do you do, right?
Yeah. Right. I thought he had escaped, but I guess I remembered incorrectly.
No, they caught him. But it was like halfway through the episode where they showed him, and I was like, I don't know, maybe they were just going to be like, oh, he's off somewhere and weren't going to address him. And so he's being addressed at least.
I think it would be really interesting if Kipo gave into that temptation at the climax of the season, and it was up to her friends to bring her back, kind of like in Big Hero 6, how the point wasn't that the kid was strong, like our main character was strong, it's that he was strong with his friends. And his friend in his friend group supporting him, he had strength. And I wonder if it's going to be played out that way, perhaps.
I feel like it's been very clearly defined that Kipo is super OP.
Which is why it would be more powerful than anything else.
Yes.
But that's just me.
So.
Should we play the next one?
I guess we'll find out. All right.
Okay. I'm not on the YouTube channel. I should probably do that so that I can get the link.
I still am using the same one. It worked so far when I push the next episode.
Oh, it is? Okay, let's try it.
So we'll try it.
Okay. Sweet.
All right.
Sweet.
And starting in 3, 2, 1, play. All right.
There goes that session. I can't get into it.
You can't get back
But that's
in?
okay.
Or you can...
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll just make a new one.
Yeah, we can just
Or I'll
make a
try
new
again
one.
later. Oh, that was so good. So I've been watching a lot of K-drama per Ashley, and it was so good.
Oh, the K-pop narwhals are my favorite.
The narwhal abs are just beautiful.
Just a classic Kipo episode.
So good.
And over the top Valley Girl Doge.
Doge? Why is her name Doge?
I don't know, but I don't want to make fun of it because it might be from a Scandinavian language or something. If her name was Kelly, I love you. Or
I am not. I am not like her. I was just saying that I would totally go and try to find the wall sign.
If her name was Jane or something else commonplace, then it would make sense. I think Doge might actually be a name from a different, like an actual name. But also, she is very Valley Girl, and oh my god, she's like she's like a girl who got into K-pop through her friends. Who what's their name? God, what's their name? The ones that took over TikTok. And did the
I listened to J-pop, not K-pop.
No, the K-pop stars. God, what's their name?
BTS?
Yeah, thank you. BTS.
Oh, they're like the number one music group in the entire world.
I can't call myself a middle school teacher anymore, but it reminds me of somebody who has gotten into BTS and it has become their life, right? Because all of their friends are into it and whatever. That's totally the vibe I got.
Oh, for sure. It was great.
But yeah.
And when they find them in the cages and he starts singing and it just becomes the background music. I'm just like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Oh my goodness.
I think that I kind of saw coming that the humans would have been already kind of taken to Emily's side. Isn't their name Dr. Emily?
Amelia, thank you.
Whatever.
Amelia.
Tomato, potato. But I kind of saw that they would be all taken to Amelia's side. I wonder what it will take to get them to see what's actually going on. Because no matter what they see now, especially the way that Kipo introduced it all, it will be very easy to explain away from Amelia's point of view, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a challenge, I think. Sure.
I wonder how they do it is all.
Big war. they're
big war.
Well, there's gonna be a big fight.
Way.
Right.
There's gonna be some sort of climactic big fight.
Whether it is physical or tactical or mental, it's still a war.
Yeah.
So I just wonder
True.
which is going to be the bigger battlefield.
Right. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be both simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's the physical representation.
Yeah, I hope that
the physical.
them bringing back the captured prisoners helps to unite the other factions of the animals. The problem is that Boom Boom, we don't know where Boom Boom is. And the hummingbirds were one of the ones that left. Poor Boom Boom.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Boom Boom was like that before they went in, but man, are they like that now. That poor hummingbird my goodness, you know.
Boom Boom always, I think, had a little
a little
screw loose, maybe.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, yeah, like they even mentioned, like it changed him. Like, yeah, like getting poked and prodded and whatever.
And that's
not good.
And that's a trauma thing, which
yeah.
Sorry if I'm always bringing up PTSD and trauma and anger management and
anger management, the code word. That was really good.
Those
that
are good. Really good. They're teaching really good coping mechanisms in this show, which I applaud because they're doing it in a very like not shoving it down your throat sort of way.
Yeah.
So that I could absolutely see showing this to an EBD classroom as like an end of day cool down thing. And like being like, hey, do you remember how Kipo did this? Like, why don't you try that? And not being okay, children, now we're going to try breathing exercises,
Mm-hmm.
Which is a resource that is much needed.
Yeah. Being able to relate to something or an idea or an action outside of like an academic space, but in I guess this is entertainment space.
Yeah. And not a kiddie sort of way, because it's really easy to talk down. It's really like they can smell it from a mile away.
Yeah.
And the Sesame Street, okay, children, like I love Sesame Street and they're probably one of the better shows that does it. But most of the time when you see these kind of like, okay, take a deep breath, they do it in a very ham-fisted sort of way. And this is one of the first times that I've seen it in not a ham-fisted sort of way. This is even more slick than Steven Universe.
Yeah. But like Sesame Street is like so younger, right? Like as soon as you start feeling that like Dora the Explorer asking you questions is weird, like that's when that stops working in my understanding and opinion.
That's my point.
Yeah. And so 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 like you need an entertainment gauge from that point to
and it's sort of the same like Disney has made not their animated stuff but their live action stuff has become very like, here's your laugh track. The Hannah Montana and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was kind of the start of that, and then they just went downhill.
Or was it just because we were at the age where we thought it was cool and it was still the same to older people watching it?
It's gotten worse. So anyway, I'm not anyway. So but the thing is, like, you can always tell, even with Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and everything, you could always tell when the moral of the story was here. And oh man, I learned this, and maybe I should have listened to my mom, and they did that. You see it in Fairly Odd Parents, you see it in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, you see it in all these different shows. And I think that it's in this, you don't feel like it's, the moral of the story. This is the summarization of the episode. It is so slick in how they have put it into their storytelling. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I would agree.
Maybe, I don't know, to keep talking about stuff, but what do you think of Hilda and Hilda's use of slipping in stuff? Because I know
I love Hilda.
Because Hilda felt very more like Hilda's purpose is to expose kids to those ideas of what it's like to move or what it's like to make new friends, or the whole episode around like the fear and Hilda's fear of like learning to ride a bike, but then there's like a ghost that eats nightmares, and like it's all just crazy wild, but it's still like the goal of that episode was to be like, hey, it's okay to be scared to do something new.
Yes.
I think what's different about this and a lot of the other things that we've been mentioning, like Hilda, is that there isn't a moral of the week in these episodes. It's much more smoothly episodic. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Hilda and with even Steven Universe, it's very much, this is our self-contained episode. And like you still have a mini arc of the episode in Kipo, but it's much more of a like, here's our long arc that has little arcs within it, as opposed to this is today, this is tomorrow, this is the next day, you know?
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. And I love how Hilda does it, and I love how Steven Universe does it, but seeing it in a way that is so smoothly integrated into the larger narrative versus the single episode is so cool.
Right. It's focusing on one thing in particular rather than in the other ones. It's like we're learning a new thing every episode.
Yeah. And in this, it's not even that the whole episode the whole episode's point is to focus on fear. The whole episode's point is to focus on this or that. It's integrated into the larger story arc.
Yeah.
So like she might have learned how to do claws in, claws out at a certain point, but it comes into handy in almost every episode, right? And it smoothly integrates into the larger narrative.
Yeah.
It's just a difference in storytelling, and I haven't seen helpful tools like this integrated into a larger narrative storytelling style like Kipo versus smaller narrative storytelling style like Steven Universe or
Hilda.
Yeah.
I really like how Hilda does it too, though.
I do too. It's just different, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're both good, just different ways of doing it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I have a new teleparty link.
Yay! Where are you sending it? Or is it
comment section of YouTube?
Fanimated podcast.
And I'm gonna grab ice cream because you know that episode made me hungry for ice cream.
Where's Hi, honey. Oh, hi. Yeah. Is that what we're gonna do now? How? So Nathan, what's up? No? Did I get muted? I might have gotten muted. That's okay. There you are. Hi, baby. I'm not muted. Everybody else is muted. Sally.
Hi.
Hi.
Americone Dream.
Yeah. Everybody else is muted. Yes. Uh-oh. Sorry. There we go. What's in Americone Dream?
It is.
What's in it?
It vanilla ice cream with fudge covered waffle cone pieces and a caramel swirl. So you get the caramel and you get the fudge and the crunchy waffle cone bits.
That sounds absolutely delicious.
It is delicious and probably one of my favorite Ben & Jerry's flavors. So
I used to have Boston cream pie was my favorite Ben & Jerry flavor, and apparently it's out. Like they don't make it anymore. And I just heard that they make a cannoli Ben & Jerry's, which I have to try because I think it's my favorite.
I just love caramel so much. So
yeah, I'm going to refill my drink after the next episode. So I'm ready whenever y'all are.
Okay.
Get me in frame here. I got so many things going on.
What do you got going on, Nathan?
Nathan has 3 monitors right now.
You're on my laptop. Netflix is on my main monitor. YouTube comments are on the other monitor, but there hasn't been any comments, so not too worried about it. But
Not too worried about it.
Yeah. I do all of that on one computer screen. So if I ever accidentally share the whole screen with my students, they're like, Miss Berryhill, how many tabs do you have? And I look at them very seriously and say, this is what my brain looks like, children. and then I fix it. So it's only one tab.
There's a Google plugin called One Tab that you can just click and it'll like create a list of all the tabs that you have opens and then put it into one tab. I saw like an optimizer
Don't
thing.
tell me about that. Do you know how many of those I would create and never get back to?
Yeah, I don't know.
No. Oh, honey, what are you doing? No. It's like having a toddler.
Be good, Linguini.
He's like a little toddler. I'm getting a little tent, like a bed tent. It's meant for mosquitoes, but like I'm gonna set it up so that I don't have to worry about him like escaping, so I can let him go wherever he wants in the tent. I'm so excited. It's coming tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Because
That's awesome.
When I first got him, he was like, I'm gonna stay here, curled up in a ball. And this is what he's like now.
Yay!
Yeah, he takes after me in so many ways. Yeah, are you a troublemaker? Are you a troublemaker? Yeah. Little snacky kisses. All right, I'm ready.
All right, we're ready for episode 3.
Thank you for letting me have
do
my
it.
emotional support snake on the podcast.
Always.
Live stream.
Linguini is always welcome.
Did you hear that, baby? Did you hear that? You're always welcome.
Every time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Play.
Woo.
Well, that's frustrating. I didn't trust her the whole time, but I still was hoping for something good.
Oh man. It is strange that she showed up. My computer's gonna die.
That session is for a different video.
Hmm?
Shoot. Oh well. The thing messed up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple thoughts. One is that they're dipping into restorative justice, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Restorative justice is the idea of basically if you have a village and somebody causes harm in the village, you have a circle, and the people of the village get to say how the actions affected them. And then the person who did the offense apologizes and says, I understand that this is how it affected you and I'm sorry. And they come up with a way for them to make it up. So, for example, like the guy who defaced the George Floyd memorial, a good example of how restorative justice could have happened is that, he tends the flowers that are planted there every day for however long. Like that's just his job now, to show that this is a commitment that he's making to give back to the community that he harmed. So Kipo is kind of, it's not supposed to be a prison sort of way. Like Kipo is being much more like, no, you're not running away sort of way. That community or restorative justice is supposed to come from like a place of genuineness.
Yeah.
But the community focused mindset is much, much closer to restorative justice than just keeping him in a cell. And that's part of the problem of our, the jail. That's part of the problem of jail is how are you going to be reintroduced into the community if you're just stuck in a jail cell, right? And not doing anything and just kind of rotting. So Kipo is breaking that cycle. And I really appreciate that. And I love Kipo more and more and more the more I watch it, because it has so many things lining up with what I want to bring into my classroom and what I want our youth to know and to practice and to follow,
Yeah.
It just touches my heart,
We're getting that redemption arc.
Yeah, but I didn't expect them to do it in this way. Like the way I am identifying it solidly is like, this is a path towards restorative justice.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody out there knows more about restorative justice than me, let me know that I'm wrong. And I know that this isn't quite the way that you would do it in true restorative justice. Like the person would have to understand what they did. But he does eventually, right? And a part of that comes from being in the community with the people. Like the change came from understanding that like the community is treating him differently and seeing the community as like his community, right? And I love that. I love that so much.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. I'll be quiet now, but like that's where I'm at with that.
Nathan, any thoughts?
That was a really sweet episode. I don't know. I always knew that they were going to have Scarlemagne redemption arc. I guess I just didn't have the vocabulary like Brynn has right now. But like, I knew like Kipo makes everyone eventually like get along. Like that's the point of Kipo.
That's the word,
that's like her paragon is that she's the like the idea of unity. Like she stands for unity above everything else. And so wherever she goes and interacts with, and we knew she was going to have to interact with Scarlemagne at some point and continue
I'm gonna
her
go
discussion.
get a drink. You two talk. I'm gonna go grab a.
Yeah. But I love the point when Kipo is just like supporting Wolf.
I
as
respect
she's
your
trying to
boundaries, but
fight
let me know
Marco.
if you get in with this. It's so good.
It was so good. And then what was the other great one-liner? Benson's or no, the Beetle, Doug. Who am I thinking? Yeah, Doug. Dave. Oh, there's too many names. Dave, when I'm like, it's a sweet name, but we know how to bring the pain. And I was like, this is the
Their
best.
entire thing of like, we're watching you.
Oh my god, we're watching you. My eyes hurt, but we're watching
And
you.
still,
Oh no, we both sneezed.
we both sneezed. Are you okay? So good. And even then, like, she still backstabbed her again.
Well, she
was
going to.
She was going to, and then she wasn't going to, and then it happened anyway. So, like,
yeah,
she still did it.
Yeah, you know, you don't always want to be suspicious when they bring back random characters, but I definitely wasn't suspicious. But well, we kind of knew though, right? Because like we saw them get captured, and then she wasn't telling. Like if she had been like, Amelia captured my brother right away,
right?
And so as soon as she was like, they're in this Deathstalker place, and I was like, what? I guess they were, maybe, but why aren't you telling her the whole thing? Like she'd so easily be on your side.
Yeah, and
like
she kept having one of those, like, I mean, granted, you could take some of her sad looks as like, oh, our past is rocky, but also I was like, you're not quite full gung ho about saving your brother, you know, like,
yeah,
you know, like it would have been more like, let's go, gotta save my brother, but it wasn't talking about that. But yeah, I liked it. I liked both story beats in this one. Yeah,
it was finally just a non-musical episode too.
Right.
So they got to do a little bit more.
That's true. Appreciate that for sure. I'm thinking I can do one more episode, but I've got so much to do.
I've been yawning for a while now.
Yeah.
Long days.
Yeah, dude. Long days for you, for sure. With the movie and everything. A lot.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What did I miss?
Not much. We're thinking one more episode and then calling it a night.
I suppose if you have lives and stuff.
You know, Linktober isn't going to draw itself, so.
Oh my gosh, I've been doing Pinktober, and I've been giving my students like, hey, come to this Google Meet between 3 and 3:15 and come and draw with me. I've had like 4 or 5 students consistently.
Nice. That's awesome.
And for Petty, one of my students drew the name of the guy who created Inktober.
There you go. Petty. That's great.
I have a picture and I have his permission to post it anywhere I want. So
there we go. I'm ready for it.
But I've been doing Pinktober not as religiously as I should, and I haven't been posting them. I've been showing them to my students, but I
want to see them. At least text them to me. If you're not going to post them,
fine. You'll see them tonight then.
Yay!
Okay.
Let's start the next episode, folks. Episode 4. In 3, 2, 1, play. Oh my gosh, guys.
What was that?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Yummy.
Dare they? How dare they? And I was thinking, oh gosh, I recognize that theme. Why do I recognize that theme? And I didn't realize it until it was too late.
Yummy. That's
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
Wow.
I'm so proud of myself for predicting so many things. Like
You
right
predicted-
before
You were on
happened.
it this episode.
and then
Oh.
no.
No.
Oh man.
I mean, there had to be a loss. There had to be something.
Yeah.
To keep the stakes high, because like this was a legit dangerous.
It's a keep the stake high.
And it
Man.
died necessarily, but it's still a character death in a way.
It's like he died because he can't go
Well,
back.
here's
to
the thing, though.
the end.
He's like a cute little kitten now.
I know. He's pretty cute. But he's not.
More sad though, because
Yeah.
Yum Yum was such a pinnacle of like strength and decision making and
He's the
power.
first.
Yeah.
He's the first hero.
It's his cry of Yum Yum, owns you all, Yum Yum hammer paw, right? So like
That was a good episode, guys.
That was a really good episode.
Also, I like how they made it so the tardigrades had to leave, because otherwise they would totally be able to solve all the problems that they.
Well, I think that it was a really good.
It makes sense. Yeah, no,
point.
it made sense why he had to go, but it's also like, I see what you're doing, writers. You're trying to get rid of him because he's an ace.
Well, he gets one episode.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to. He could have stayed around and hung out at the base, but I think that it was still like a signing off of like a progression. Him leaving was a progression in the storyline. I feel like, no, you're not gonna turn off my computer. Stop that. Sorry, toddler. He's like, but mom. No, he's taken me off of Google Meets before by slithering over my keys. So I think that it was a progression in the stakes and in the story.
Yeah. Stakes are high in general right now. Like
it felt almost like this is you growing up. Almost like I don't know. I feel like it's an advancement.
I just think it's like,
next
we can't have him around
book.
because he'll be able to solve everything.
I think that they fixed that with the. I think that you're right that they took him out because
he's a great character,
a little bit of a god mod, but they could. The thing is, they could have kept the character in while still not using him. He could have stayed at the base, but I think that it was nice to have a sense of closure with him.
Well,
at the end.
At the end.
At the end, when when everything's happy.
Reunion, yeah.
And there's going to be a montage at the end that shows all the different characters, and he's going to be in the
right. But there's only ever one tardigrade episode per season, right? So that's that one.
Yep. That's the tardigrade episode.
Yeah, but like, do you guys remember the first tardigrade episode? That was terrifying.
It was horrible.
He is one of the scariest villains to have ever existed.
Oh, for sure. I agree.
I was surprised that he turned out to be legitimately
like when he pops up again and you're like, oh no, and then he's like, oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's like
he's the most chaotic neutral character I think to ever exist, and that is terrifying. Chaotic neutral characters are so much more terrifying than anything evil because you can predict evil. You can't predict neutral.
Entrapta and Double Trouble are both chaotic neutral. They're my chaotic neutral babies, and you have no idea where they're gonna go.
No idea.
Okay, neutral is the most. Who knows?
Terrifying.
Flip a
And just
coin.
that the tardigrades can, like, he can do so much. Like,
Yeah.
he can, it is terrifying.
He's a god modding character. Like, not gonna lie.
Mhm.
And I was pleasantly surprised that they kept him on the good side.
It was great.
He's like, doing good gives me endorphins. This makes me feel good. Essentially, I've gone vegan.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
I liked it. I think that was really good. I'm really
episode.
liking this season so far.
me too.
You know, series can either go up or down at this point, and Kipo keeps going up, which is really good.
Yeah.
What's gonna make me cry though?
What's gonna make you cry? You said.
Yeah, because we're all like, "Oh, Scarlet Main redemption arc. Oh, they're all gonna be reunion at the end." What's gonna actually make me cry though?
Something else is going to
The
happen.
mom.
Yeah.
You're right. I
Mom
almost
or dad's gonna die. Nobody gets away with having both parents by the end of a
I
season
know.
or a series. Nobody's gonna have both parents. It's just not. It's not. It's written
That's
into
not how it
story law, YA law, that nobody gets to have both
Both
parents.
parents.
They're both abusive. Okay, like
Mhm.
abusive or absent. That's the only way. So
Yep.
Dang
You're
it.
right.
You're right. The
You're
mom,
right.
because like when I first realized that Mega Monkey was Kipo's mom, I think it was actually like end of season 1. Before they'd even done anything with it. And so
Yeah.
when Kipo finally realized it, I was just sobbing the whole time. And like she started singing to her, I think, and then they realized I was just sobbing. So there's gonna be
It's
Yeah.
still
a sobbing moment.
if both her parents live, that'll be absolutely amazing. But if they don't, yeah, I'm gonna be in tears.
Yeah.
I want to know if they bring Wolf's sister back in. Because that was a huge second betrayal, and she tried to stop it before it happened.
Right.
Like she stopped it mid betrayal and said, like, if you leave, you can get away. But Amelia was like, nope, I'm already here. Okay, thanks, bye. So I wonder if Wolf's sister does try, come back and try to make amends for real this time.
She might try to join their party.
Because the Newton Wolves aren't in Humpfta, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Hamufa.
Human mutant.
Yeah.
Friendship. Ultimate Friendship Alliance?
Ultimate Friendship Alliance.
Friendship Alliance.
I think that if they do bring her back in, though, I don't know if they can ever trust her again. Ever. And I think that that's understandable.
It might be just like thrown in at the end, like, everyone's here.
Yeah.
And
It might be like an implied we will get there, like
Yeah.
oh, this is going to take some time, but this is a good first step sort of thing, because they don't have time to redeem her because
They got too many characters.
they've got too many characters.
The thing is, trust is different than forgiveness. You can forgive somebody and not trust them. And I think that's an important distinction to make. And so maybe like Wolf can be like, I forgive you. I don't trust you and I don't want to hang out with you, but I forgive you. You know, and there's that is a healthy line to draw. And it's a line that the target audience does not always understand.
I feel like she's a small enough a character and there are so few episodes left that I don't think we're going to get like a full in-depth look at
I
the
agree.
sister.
I agree.
But I do think she's going to join their party and help because, you know, she wants, she has to get her brother back.
I kind of hope that she doesn't get into the party really close to Wolf, though. I hope that she gets
just like part of the
Yeah, like on the outskirts, not directly working with Wolf or our main group, because
she'll be like a push the boulder character. I don't know how exactly to explain this, but like, you know, when the whole team like gets something and then there's the montage of like everyone's different hands going up.
Helping,
she'll be one of the hands at the end. They're like, she's here. And then they like won't address it.
Great way to put it. I think like the end of the last Marvel movie of the whole arc. What's it called? Endgame. You know how they show everybody coming to fight, and that's kind of a push the boulder moment.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there crying the entire time.
Cheers.
You don't understand. Okay, I'm obsessed with the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
I love them so much. And literally, Endgame, all the time travel stuff, hated it. Whatever. Time travel sucks in any sort of narrative because it just destroys it all.
I love time travel, but continue.
But then, when they finally get to the actual fight with Thanos, I'm crying from when Captain America grabs Mjolnir till the end of the movie. I am just silently sobbing to myself in the theater.
Yes.
Endgame lost all of my respect when they did not, when they gave Tony Stark a huge memorial and things, but nothing for Natasha. They lost 100% of my respect for that entire movie. So I understand.
Yeah.
But as soon as that happened, when it's all like, oh, Tony Stark, oh, the white man who sacrificed himself instead of the woman who's Russian, who, you know, sacrificed herself in the last 5 years for this entire organization so that we could still have some semblance of organization for all of this to happen. Oh, Tony. That's what did it for me. But the rest of the movie was good. I mean...
I've literally never heard that until this point because I am me. Let's just leave it at that.
No, and I understand.
And so I've never even thought about that. But yeah, that's a huge good point. And I just tried to like defend myself about it. And I don't know if I'm really gonna do that.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, that's a huge flaw. There's definitely huge flaws in that movie that really break it for me. But essentially, the moment from Captain America grabbing Mjolnir.
That was a really good moment, though. Like that's a lie.
I mean, that's the way to end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
And so, like, I will say like that movie had some of the best moments in Marvel Cinematic Universe, like that, and like Iron Man's like sacrifice, like are still very impactful moments. But as a whole, that movie isn't even like top 5. Like, I don't know.
The other thing was fat shaming Thor.
Yeah, I hated that.
I hated it.
I hated it.
Sorry, Kelly, we're hijacking your podcast.
You're fine, please.
No.
Sure.
It's so interesting that Marvel set it up as a joke, and the fandom took it and was like, "No, Fat Thor is amazing and beautiful." And you should have kept it, like, and the thing is, he kept his pudge even when he got his powers back, which was good. But they were still kind of like poking fun at it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Bad Marvel. Bad.
I hated Thor being the butt of any joke.
Yep.
Like and then like my biggest issue with it is like technically like the jokey superhero is like Ant-Man. And so then when Ant-Man is like being responsible and like Thor's the butt of all the jokes, I'm like, no, this is not how these characters function. This isn't like realistic. Like they don't represent these things in the movie. Why are you doing this? And that's why I hated it. But yeah, your points are very well spoken. I
have complicated feelings about Thor.
Well, there's 2 Thors at this point.
Thank you.
There's the Taika Waititi Thor, and then there's like the whatever the Thor was in the first 2.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Thor actually got a personality.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you.
Which is why I think it was so weird in Endgame, because that's like a completely different third Thor. I was like, they established Thor, like they finally did it. Taika Waititi was like,
Thor.
This is Thor.
So, hey Nathan, do you want to go on like Facebook Live and talk about Marvel sometime?
How about this?
Maybe
we'll say thank you for watching, everybody. We're watching Kipo and
as always, Black Lives Matter.
Stay tuned.